So we'll start again. We had some technical difficulties for some reason. We have to say a short goodbye to one of our students who is going back home for a while. He'll be back hopefully soon. So Hudi Goldstein, we wish you all the best. Kadosh Baruch Hu should protect you in your travels and should bring us here safely. Lech l'shalom, tachzor l'shalom, and that the Kadosh Baruch Hu will help you maintain your level of ruchnius, and that you chas v'shalom aren't tempted by your taivas and all the other things that are waiting for you in Joburg. And we will still test you for drugs when you come back. Okay, now. So if you followed the shir yesterday, you were wondering, what the heck am I talking about? And I can tell you that this today is, you're going to say that also today. Because he's going through a long list of 7, I know I'm only holding up 4, I know that. But 7 keneged 7. 7 of these keneged 7 of these. This in face of this, which means what? He is telling us that in order to develop the proper discipline of serving Hashem, you need 2 components. You need Torah and you need intellect. So the first 7, which we covered yesterday, and if I didn't cover all of them, I think you get the picture. He's talking about what would happen if you only had one of them. And now, today, we're going to talk about what if you only had the other one, which means that you need both the Torah and the Seichel together, working together, in order to achieve true discipline in connecting to Hashem. Okay? There's a side of me that wants to skip this, because it's a lot of details for people who are not, so we're not going to focus too much on this parak, but this is what's happening. And so he says that since the man is made up of nefesh and guf, there is an aspect of the human being, Yudah, that pulls him, draws him to becoming addicted to physical pleasure. Now, physical pleasure doesn't always mean you don't have to imagine the worst. It could just be food. Ordering fancy sandwiches from not so kosher places. Ordering what people call pizza. I don't even know what that is. With suspect hechshers. Even if you order with great hechshers, the question is, are you essentially feeding that desire for more and more and more, as opposed to just eat like the rest of us in the yeshiva? Now, I can already expect what Shai is going to say to me. But Rabbi, what's wrong with having a little bit of a standard of living? You know, tuna and kugel? Come on. What's so wrong to have a falafel or shawarma once in a while? What's wrong with eating out? What's wrong with, getting a massage? What's wrong with getting your pedicure? All of those things cost money. Correct? Nobody is giving you sandwiches. Sandwiches don't drop from heaven. Except on Wednesday, where you guys getting a meal for learning. Right? So that's Baruch Hashem. But on the other hand, this idea that it costs money doesn't grow on trees. Money you have to earn. And to earn money, it takes time. Correct? And so, when you have to dedicate a certain amount of time to earn money, it means a certain amount of your time is unavailable for learning Torah, for serving Hashem, right? Taking a train to Haifa because there's a class that you have to take. I don't know. Is that the best use of your time? I don't know.
Study Torah on the train.
Oh, excellent. But what about if the whole purpose of the trip is to get a degree in Jewish studies, which that's not going to bring you any money? Trust me.
Money is the angle. The Parnasa is only a means to further your...
Parnasa, you have to do ishtadlus.
Yep.
Ishtadlus is a requirement, but there's no guarantee.
Yep.
There's a guy I know who does online marketing. He's working and doing, does he make any money? No, he might. But for now, can't even afford a haircut. So, having, what he's saying here, is that having a standard of living, that requires a certain level of commitment of financial resources. And there's a story I really like that I heard. Now, if somebody comes back and says that the story is not true, I'm not going to die on my sword for that. But the story says like this, that the Chofetz Chaim's son invited the Chofetz Chaim to see the house that he built. And when the Chofetz Chaim walked in, he saw that they had wallpaper on the walls. And he walked and he started like touching the wallpaper and doing this. And they said, "What are you doing? It's not holy, it's just wallpaper." He said, "You know how many Gemara pages these are?" I'm like, "What? No, it's wallpaper." He said, No, you don't understand. Wallpaper costs money. And in order to earn this money, somebody had to work for it. And working means that they could not sit and learn. So imagine how many dafs of Gemara they didn't learn in order to afford this luxury. And it's a luxury. That's what the Chovos Halevavos is saying. That there is an aspect in us, because we are made up of a goof, that we have a propensity, we have a pull towards physical pleasure. Physical pleasure. And we have to pay attention to that. Some of it we might say, is not so bad. To have a nice pillow, a blanket, have a comfortable mattress, a nice roof over our head. So we have to understand that there is this sort of pull, this train that once you get on that train, it sort of moves you, and your standard of living as it grows or as it becomes higher and higher, it requires you a certain level of income and requires you to bring in that cash every month. If you want to buy a big house, right? Nobody's going to tell you it's usher. It just means that now you're obligated to pay a $5,000-$6,000 a month mortgage. Well, that requires a certain amount of cash, right? You can't play the ukulele in the subway and make that kind of cash. You have to do something else. So now you start, you need to, do things that you probably shouldn't be doing. You're playing the ukulele without your shirt, which people are paying you to put your shirt back on. Okay. Yes? You wanted to say something? No. I know that I wanted to say something, but I didn't. So somebody asked me a very good question before we came down here. So, but Rabbi, shouldn't we have aspirations or standards that we want to hit in life, certain things we want to accomplish? The answer is absolutely yes. You should have aspirations in Kedusha, in your Torah learning, in your Avodas Hashem, but also in the way that you live your life. So that professionally you want to succeed. That's perfectly normal and it's required. That is, if you have goals, your professional goals, let's say you're an accountant or, I don't know, whatever you should have aspirations of things that you want to accomplish, that you are if you want to be successful. And remember, one of the number one or number one factors for people to be successful is that they're around successful people. If you're around bums, guess what? They're going to influence you. If you're around people who are highly motivated, push themselves, that's going to affect you. Okay? So if you are around people who are committed to a life of Torah and holiness, that is going to shape you. You're also going to be affected by that. If you're around people who chase money, that's going to affect you also. Chasing physicality is always a bad idea. There's a medrash that says, I think it's in Kohelet, that says that nobody leaves this world with half of their taivas fulfilled. Nobody leaves this world with even half of their taivas, their desires fulfilled. So that should not be your goal. If your goal is to be successful, you have to first define what success means to you. And you have to have objects of measuring that success. And so you can evaluate that you're not wasting resources like your time, your money, right? You think you're successful, but really, it's very, very important. But you should definitely have aspirations, not only in Torah and Kedusha, but also in your professional life. If you choose not to live as a Kli Kodesh, to become a rabbi, and you will want to get a job and, be a balabas, you're going to kovei itim la Torah, you'll have time during the day that you're going to learn and you're going to be part of a Jewish community. But on the other hand, you want to run a bank, then that requires goals, strategies, tactics in order to be successful. And you have to work on that. Now he says there are some situations where our body pulls us and drowns us in the most base taivas that human beings can have. And I don't know if you've ever met people like that they are sort of stuck in the mud of the lowest forms of desire. They just, mamish like animals. And it's the saddest thing. Because you could recognize that they have a neshama. They have. This is not the purpose that Hashem created them. They could say whatever they want. That it's my life and I can do it and it makes me happy and I'm making money and I don't care that everybody sees me this way or whatever. But Lamaise, that's not the purpose. That's not the purpose of what a human being is. If a person has been blessed with good looks like Michael, he knows that it's not to sell his, feet pictures, his foot. He knows that that's not what the purpose is. The purpose of a human being is to reflect the light of Hashem in him. But there's that danger of the body, and this is what he's saying, that the danger of the body that is going to pull him, and without any control of the intellect, the person could be mamish animal, become a behemoth. And that is, it's very painful to watch. And even the people that tell you that they think they're having an amazing time and enjoy it, at some point, they get to a point where they realize. I was listening to an interview with a woman who became Baalat Tshuva. I don't know who she is. Maybe she's very famous in Israel. Probably is. I don't know who she was. I don't know her name. And she said she used to go to the clubs, and she did all the things that people do in the clubs and this and that. And she said, I would come home and cry, and said, "This can't be life. It can't be that that's all I was made for." And she pulled herself out, Baruch Hashem. So that's what the Chovos Halevavos says, that if you are living this type of life, it means that you have no control over yourself. A behemoth, you put food in front of a behemoth, it just eats whatever it is. No control. And so you need the intellect to be part of this, to control the body. And the intellect, he says, what the Torah does. This is what the Torah does. He says the Torah calls him to withdraw from physicality in this world. It teaches you not to pursue physicality as a goal. It tells you to stay away from bad society. If you live in a society that's the goal, that's what's happening, it tells you leave that society. That's why the Chazon Ish says that today in our generations, yeshiva is Noah's Ark. That outside there's mamish mabul. And you all know what goes outside. When you are in here, you are in a completely different world. You're not affected by the nonsense that's happening over there. The only way you get affected is when you go to your room and you pull your little phone out and you start, and all of a sudden you're back into that and sort of thinking, well, maybe I should do that, maybe not. And then it's 3 o'clock, you come here and then you feel so guilty that you did that, that one do tshuva, and therefore you become a tzaddik like Nachshon. The Torah turns us away from all the terrible things that happen in the world and focuses our thoughts to the elevated spiritual realm. When we sit and we learn Gemara, some people say to me, Rabbi, why are we learning things that are not relevant? We want to learn things like that are relevant to our lives. The whole point of learning Torah is to see that everything is relevant. That whatever sugya, whether you're learning in Kiddushin, you're learning in Gittin or Shabbos or Chulin, all of this is essentially learning what Hashem wants you to do and what He doesn't want you to do. And He's communicating to you through the oral Torah. And so whether Rav Huna is right or whether Rav Huna is wrong, that etzem discussion of what is chuppah and whether it does work to be kind of a woman or it doesn't work in a kind of a woman, all of that is essentially we're doing the ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu and we're elevating ourselves. Elevating ourselves. There's a story in the Gemara and Shabbos that appears in 2 places. I think one is Mem Daled and the other one is Kuf Lamed or something. Maybe Kuf Chavtes, something like that. The story is like this. There was a guy named Elisha Bal Knafayim. You ever heard of him? So Elisha Bal Knafaim was a Jew during the Roman period, and the Romans made a gzera. They made a decree that any Jew that is caught wearing tefillin in public, they will pierce his brain where the tefillin are. So where do you wear your tefillin? Here, right? So they would pierce. And what would happen if the Romans would pierce your skull? Pretty much dead. And Elisha Bal Knafaim didn't care. And he wore his tefillin in public. And all of a sudden, the Roman soldier sees him. And he comes towards him. So Elisha sees him and he starts running away from him. And the Roman is chasing him. So picture this. It's a market full of Jews and Goyim. And the Roman is running and Elisha is running. And Elisha is grabbing the tefillin. And he's taking them off. Now the hand, it didn't matter. It was hidden. Right? Because it's over here. But he's removing the tefillin. And the Roman caught up to him. And when he caught up to him, he didn't have his tefillin on his head. So where was the tefillin? In his head. And the Roman says to him, what do you have in your hand? So what did he have in his hand, Michael? Tefillin. He says, I have kanfei yoina. I have the wings of a dove in my hand. Did he? No. And the Roman says, open your hand. And he opens his hand, and what did he have? Kanfei yoina. That's why Elisha was called Baal Knafaim. Because of the miracle that he had these wings. And the Gemara asks, why yoina? Why dafka yoina? Why did, of all the things that he could have said, he could have said, I have, I don't know, eggs. I have a piece of meat. I have, I don't know, whatever you can think of. Why dafka did he say kanfei yoina? The wings of a dove. So the Gemara says that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, the Jewish people are compared to a dove. And the answer is why? This is because the dove uses its wings to battle its enemies. That's what the Gemara says. So, ad kan the Gemara. Okay? Have you ever seen a dove using its wings to fight off a cat? I've seen it here. It doesn't really work. When the cat grabs it and it starts hitting it with it doesn't work. It's not like the cat, okay, I'm sorry, I'll let you go. So what does this mean? So Baruch Mordechai Ezrachi Zatzal, is Rosh Yeshiva of Teres Israel, where two of my sons learned, said something very, very powerful. That the kanfei yoina, the way that the dove battles its enemies, is by flying away. Right? You come to grab the dove, what does the dove do? Flaps its wings and flies away. That's its defense. Okay. The Jewish people were compared to a dove, because we use the mitzvahs of the Torah to elevate ourselves above our enemies. With the mitzvot, we elevate above the physical, secular world with all its nonsense. We just do mitzvot. The mitzvah of learning Torah, the mitzvah of tefillah, mitzvah of Shabbat, mitzvah of Yamim Tovim. B'ezrat Hashem will have the mitzvah of Chanukah soon. Right? We simply elevate ourselves beyond whatever is going on. And once Rav Baruch Mordechai Zachi asked, what's the difference between tall and elevated? Okay? So tall, you have one person standing here and another person standing next to him. This one grew up to here, and the other one grew up to here. Correct? That's what it means tall, right? When you say Reuven is taller than Shimon, it means that Reuven and Shimon were standing on the ground, and Reuven grew to this height, and Shimon grew to this height. And that's the difference. Well, what does it mean elevated? Elevated means that they don't start at the same point. That Reuven is standing over here, Shimon is elevated, he's starting over here. We are elevated. The Kanfei Yoina allow us to elevate ourselves. So that when we are compared to other people, it's not a question of better than them, or taller than them, or all the other comparisons. We're simply, the Torah allows us to elevate ourselves. And once we elevate ourselves above physicality, then this is the ultimate goal of what the Torah wants. And so he says that the Torah is the one that provides us the ability to elevate ourselves beyond the physical desires. Yes, we all have physical desires. Even Dan. Right? You have physical desires, right? Yes or no? I don't want to know what they are. That keeps them to yourself. Right? You like falafel, right? Okay, Baruch Hashem. So that's a physical desire. What? Whenever I look at you, you're already worried about that I'm going to say something that... Why? What's going on here? Andrew, did you want to say something?
No. I guess I did, but...
Yes, go ahead.
No, I guess I just did now, doing this, so I can't really get out of this by continuing to say something. So,
Yes.
should I just leave?
No. No. It's amazing to see when I sit here, people are sitting on the back row, writing and copying while I teach. It's very, very inspiring that people are paying attention to what I say. Right, Chase?
Yeah.
Thank God. Baruch Hashem. So, this is one of the ultimate benefits of the Torah that allows you to have some level of control over your own life. If we did not have the Torah, we would be completely engrossed by our taivas. When people, it's very interesting when you talk to people about the Torah and about Judaism. So people say, well, it controls your life. It's actually the opposite. It frees your life. Why? How so? Well, without the Torah, you become a slave to your physical desires. That's all you're thinking of, how to get your riz up. Huh? Is that a good use of the term? Yes? No? So how is it? Improve your riz. Is that better?
Oh my God.
Yes. Listen, I gotta know, you teach me a word, I need to know how to use it. Now all the people who are, 80 and above that are watching this are gonna be, Riz, I gotta look that, whoa! That better not be bad.
It's not great.
It's not great. But controlling the body, let's say just take something for sleep. Sleep. Right? A lot of people have a very hard time getting up in the morning. And if they didn't really have to get up, they would just sleep every day till 2 p.m. Which means that your body is in control. Not your real you. only the Torah helps you control that by saying, I have to get up in the morning to daven, to say Kriyat Shema. So that sort of sets some levels of control. The body, whatever it sees, it wants to eat. Comes Torah says, okay, these are the foods that you can eat, and these are the foods you cannot eat. Sets limits and controls. Same thing with dress. Same thing with haircuts. There are people who like to have very funny haircuts. Right, Noam?
Thanks.
Not you, I'm saying you've seen people.
Yeah.
You and I are from the same town. Right? We're just different generations.
Yeah, that's true.
But people wear very crazy hairdos.
You mean like pompadour?
At least. The Torah provides us a way to control and then start to see what I really want. Because sometimes their judgment is clouded by their desires, that they cannot really figure out what do they really want. And you ask them, what do you want? And say, what do I want? I don't know what I want. Okay? So it is through the power of the Torah, the Kedusha of the Torah, that you get control over yourself. And it frees you to control this machine that is called your body. To put the body in the service of the mind, rather than the other way around. The mind simply is a tool for the body to achieve its physical pleasures. Yuda. Okay? Tov. Next. I'm just looking at what he's saying here and seeing if we want to get into this in all the details. If you just follow your intellect without the Torah, the intellect does not set the duties that you have in your service to Hashem. It'll tell you you need to have gratitude to God. But how do you express that? Your intellect won't tell you. It is only the Torah that tells you there's prayer, tefillah, there's fasting, there's tzedakah, there's gmilut chasadim, there are limits to what penalties and punishments you're allowed to set in society. There are boundaries that the Torah sets up. And through the fulfillment of the mitzvot and keeping away from what you're not supposed to be doing, that's how you praise and thank Hashem. The intellect will tell you have to thank Him, but it won't tell you how. Is that raining? Is that what it is? Okay. Okay. So that's one. Two. The intellect, the way that it works is if you don't understand something, you're sort of stuck. But in the Torah, it doesn't work this way. Why? Just follow what the Torah tells you. Even if you don't understand. Right? In the Torah, we have a mitzvah of, maybe somebody should tell him that maybe they're waiting for mincha and they should know that there's no mincha. Or if he wants to come in, he can, because Dan didn't say when we're over. How much time do we have today? You don't need to. You have a phone, don't you?
You have 5 minutes left.
Okay, I could live with 5 minutes. Can I borrow against that for tomorrow? can I borrow more time if I need for tomorrow? So let's say I'll borrow 8 minutes today. Was I right? Shalom. Who are you? Aaron what? Moreski.
Yeah.
Are you new?
No, I'm just visiting for the day. And
Nice.
people spoke highly of you, so let's come sit and listen.
Well, we're finished. I was given only 5 more minutes. And all the jokes were gone.
I'll take the 5 minutes if I can get it.
Okay. Where are you from?
Toronto.
Toronto. Welcome. I'm from America. Arzot Habrit. Yes. America. Oh, say, you don't have to stand.
They did away with it.
I love America. Maybe one day I should give a class about America. I told you my big issue with America. That the date of the founding of the United States of America, right, July 4th, 1776, was the 17th of Tammuz in that year, which was it's a fast day. Now there's like 2 Gemaras in Erechin and in Tanis that says that God puts bad things to happen on bad days, puts it together. Because of all these terrible things happening in Yud Zayin B'Tammuz, then, so that's like a bad sign. But then, there's a tzad also that the Nevi'im tell us that Yud Zayin B'Tammuz and Tisha B'Av and Asara B'Teves will become special celebratory days. Because when the redemption comes, these are going to be holidays. So the question is, do we look at that as the beginning of the holiday for the Jewish people or not? You can be skeptical. Those are the 2 positions that big, long, bearded rabbis discussed and said you could go either way.
And they said that it would be.
They say either way. One says like this, one says like that. So America. So you're from Toronto?
Toronto.
Okay, good. We have a few representatives. One guy from Ottawa. I don't know how he got snuck in. We lowered our standards. Yes, sir.
Before the camera cuts, I just wanted to ask.
Cut. Yes.
That line where it says that you open like a small little hole for me, and then Hashem will like expand and open the world to you.
Yes, Machad. You open. It's a Gemara.
What's the line? You said it.
I don't remember it by heart, but it says the pitcho shel Machad. If you open the opening of a needle, and I will open like an ulam. I don't remember the exact source for it though, because I remember there's like a whole discussion whether there is a Gemara about this or not. So I don't remember, but I was supposed to look up something for somebody. Andrew, I forgot. So could you WhatsApp me, please?
Yeah.
And I will look that up. And if you WhatsApp me on that, I will bli neder look it up tonight. I should have some time today. I only have 5 dafs left. Yeah, 5 is pretty good. Okay, I don't want to go any further without getting Dan upset at me. But Dan, can I borrow? We had a guest, I have to show him that I could do something. Can we go a little bit further?
You still have the 3 minutes of the 5.
Oh, I'm gonna, once I start with a thought, and then you guys like soccer, then you get injury time, right? So that, when he says that's 5 minutes, then I get injury time. And injury time, who knows, You never know. I remember the game when you didn't know when he's going to say. Today, the referees tell you, injury time is 4 minutes, right? So you know. But I used to watch, their game. They wouldn't tell you. They would just do it for themselves. And then you'd like, come on. And the whole, and then, no, my God. Yeah, my dad, Zichrono Livracha, loved watching soccer. So I had to watch soccer with him. The Italian league, the German league, the English league. Any league, he loved soccer. Sorry, I don't get it. You're watching like 96 minutes of a game and it's 0-0.
Hockey too.
What? Listen. Don't talk about the sports that you don't know anything
I'm
about.
just saying it's hockey.
No, hockey is
Hockey's what, 2-1?
hockey is an unbelievable game.
It is.
But I will not let you say anything negative about hockey. If you do, that's it. I'm telling you, you're gonna be in a penalty box. No. Hockey, I'll tell you, is I used to watch hockey because when I taught at the University of Nebraska, they had a hockey team that played, and I get tickets to go to the game. And then there was a high school league also that we would go, and then there was a semi-pro league. So I got to go to a lot of games, and it's a very, very interesting game. College, they won't let them fight. They don't let them fight in college. I'm telling you.
No, I'm saying that's so stupid.
It's so stupid what? That they let them fight or they don't let them fight?
They're not fighting. Like, what's the point of it?
Okay. You're not really into the sport. Then why don't you just watch wrestling?
Watch football, rather.
He's ruining the whole shir. You notice this? We want to end on a high note with Torah, with Kedusha, and you want to ruin it with the last 2 minutes of nonsense. So on that note, we'll continue tomorrow.